In today's video, we'll be focusing on prepositions, what they are, how they work, and their importance in phrasal verbs. Let's get right into it. Prepositions are words that show the relationship between a noun, or pronoun, and another word in the sentence. In the sentence, "The book is on the shelf," the preposition on highlights the relationship between the book and the shelf. Prepositions often tell us where, when, why, or how something happens. For example, she drove through the countryside, he woke up at 8 o'clock, they failed because they didn't study, or she sings with ease. Although there are around 150 prepositions in English, the 10 most common include in, on, at, to, for, with, about, by, from, and of. Still, it's worth taking the time to look up longer lists of prepositions and familiarize yourself with them. Let's start by reviewing some frequently confused prepositions, specifically ones that even native speakers occasionally hesitate over. In versus on, especially with vehicles. We say, "I got in the car" and "I got in the taxi," but "I got on the bus" and "I got on the train." What's the difference? It comes down to how we conceptualize space and access. We use in for smaller, enclosed private vehicles, cars, taxis, trucks, where you sit inside a limited space. We use on for larger or shared forms of transportation. Buses, trains, planes, boats, where people can move around or where boarding happens via a step or platform. Of course, because it's English, there are exceptions. For example, even though it's a private vehicle, we say, "I got on the motorcycle," not "in the motorcycle," because we're literally sitting on top of it. Likewise, even though it's technically shared transportation, we say "in the elevator" and not "on the elevator," as in this context, we treat it as an enclosed space. Let's look at a few more examples of confusing preposition pairs. Arrive in and arrive at. We use arrive in when discussing a general location, like "we arrived in Italy last night." We use arrive at when discussing a specific location, like "we arrived at the party." Another pair that can be confusing is on time and in time. On time is used when referring to something that's punctual, as in "the train was on time." In time is used in the context of before it's too late, as in "we got there in time to catch the train." And lastly, we have between and among. We use between when referring to two distinct things. The secret stayed between the friends. The usage of between here shows us we're talking about two friends. Among, on the other hand, is used when discussing larger groups. She felt comfortable among her classmates. Now let's talk briefly about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are combinations of verbs and prepositions, or adverbs, that form new meanings. For example, by adding different prepositions to the verb look, we can get look at, as in she looked at the painting, look for, as in I'm looking for my cat, look after, as in he looks after his younger brother, and look into, as in the police are looking into the matter. Another example would be the verb take. By adding different prepositions, we get take off, as in take off your shoes, take on, as in she took on too many projects, take over, as in he took over the company last year, and take up, as in you're taking up too much space. Each of these shows how a small change, just one preposition, can entirely shift the meaning of a phrase. And that wraps up our review on prepositions. As a review, we've discussed what prepositions are, how they work, and their role in phrasal verbs. Make sure to watch the other videos in this series for a full grammar review and keep practicing.